All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ajayi. I'm a director of global sales on the Matter for Work team. I'm lucky to spend a lot of time talking to businesses, organizations across the world who are using mixed reality to transform the way they work. Today, I want to share a few of those insights. I'll talk about what we've been working on Meta, and then give you a glimpse of what the future holds based on some of the big technology bets that we're making today. We're going to do all of this in about 15 minutes, so buckle up. I think the best place to start is with a question I get all the time, every time I engage businesses. Why is Meta interested in work? Why? Meta is a consumer business focused on consumer. Why are we here? I think the answer is actually very simple, right? First off, our mission to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. Why wouldn't that include work? If you think about it, we spend 90,000 hours of our life there. So this is very important to how Meta thinks about community. Work is an essential part of this. But there's another reason too, right? Let's think about some of the technology evolutions that we've seen. In the 80s and 90s, most people got their first PC or laptop at work, right? They got used to that experience, they brought it home. The internet itself did not really take off until when people used it in the institution, in the office, right? It was after that experience that people brought the internet to the house as well. And then when you think about mobile phones, right? BlackBerry, until when you had businessmen using BlackBerry in the workplace, that was when we began to see the popularity of smartphones even in the house, right? In all of these cases, it took a ton of innovation, right? For us to be able to overcome some of the significant hurdles, whether it's expensive equipment, slow speeds, or bulky designs. But eventually, once we discovered the utility of this technology, right, we experienced it in the workplace, we're able to bring it home, and the rest is history. The same thing is actually happening right now with mixed reality, right? If you think about the impact that this is having for businesses, we believe that it would be as profound as the other technologies that I just talked about. This is the Meta Quest 3. We just released it last month, and it's our most versatile headset yet. It's got 10 times more pixels than the Quest 2. It's 30% higher resolution, and it's 40% slimmer. It's going to bring true mixed reality to a mass audience for the very first time. Why do we think this matters? Because until now, the digital world has been something that we could only experience by touching a screen. And that truly keeps us away, literally at arm's length when it comes to technology. But with mixed reality, right, we're removing that screen so that the digital world, along with everything in it, right, just feels as present, just as accessible, just as real, as if you're right there as the physical one. We're already seeing, how this can drive business outcomes, in different organizations. And we think there are 4 different ways, right, that we're beginning to see show up in different organizations that we talk to. The first is learning and development. We're seeing companies simulate real-world scenarios in virtual environments, so people like surgeons, firefighters, or airline pilots can hone their skills without the cost or the risk actually involved, like taking a knife to a patient or having to run into a burning building to be able to practice and learn and to hone your skills, right? But we're also seeing immersive VR play out in DE&I programs as an example, soft skills trainings, where people are able to practice very difficult conversations with clients. The second area is creativity and design. This is huge. It's huge for architects, engineers, and construction companies who can now review digital designs, digital twins of new buildings, with their clients, where they're able to collaborate a lot easier for them to be able to collaborate in these types of environments. One person actually said to me that it's a lot easier to shift pixels around than it is to move steel bars or concrete, right? You can do all of this in VR. Then you've got product designers who can now work together in real time with 3D models where they can visualize the data, they can collaborate together and come up with innovative solutions. The third use case is meetings and collaboration. Mixed reality and VR generally are great for collaboration because it's fundamentally about bringing people together and creating that sense of presence. You can really see this in virtual office space, for example, with the Horizon workrooms, where people can come together, the whole idea of like spatial audio, expressive avatars, being able to give your colleagues fist bump, high five, as if you guys are right next to each other, even though you may be countries apart or thousands of miles away from each other. The last area, but one that we are obviously super passionate about, is building community. As I have said, this is really in the heart of our mission. We know that many organizations find it difficult to bring people together, whether they are looking to share information or just help new employees to be able to meet each other and get to grips with company values and policies. VR is a great way to do this without the cost or carbon footprint of flying people around the world, right? You can just put on a headset, jump into the immersive experience, and begin the onboarding experience. One of the really important things to understand about all of this is that this isn't something that will happen. It's something that is actually happening right now. In fact, in some industries, it's been happening for a while. You're going to hear a lot of amazing stories from some great organizations today, so I won't label the points. But I want to give you a few examples. I talked about architects, engineers, and construction firms. Well, we've just published a case study with Murchison, which is the 6th largest data center builder in the US. They spotted over 600 issues after walking a client through a digital twin of a new design. Spotting just one of these issues, they were able to save the organization $26,000. And then on the next issue, $12,000, right? That's $40,000 of savings. And they have 598 issues to go. I also talked about learning and development. We have a great story with Pfizer. Pfizer actually turned to MetaQuest when Pfizer needed to train hundreds of their employees on the new operators under the strict social distancing guidelines in order to produce billions of doses of their life-saving medicine, and fast, right? By implementing VR in just one of their global supply areas, Pfizer was able to reduce training by over 40% and save up to $23,000, right, per trainee peer, right, when they did the training in VR versus non-VR training. Think about that. When was the last time you heard such savings with anything that has to do with e-learning? Impressive. There are loads of different stories that I could share, and many more you would hear over the next 3 days. But let's keep going. So I'm going to talk to you a little more about the hardware we've created and the impact it's having, right? But I think maybe even the most important thing, right, is the technology advancements that we're making with work-ready solutions for businesses of all sizes, especially large enterprises. This would enable these businesses to be able to expand the use of VR mixed reality within the organization with a lot more confidence. So let's talk about it. I am pleased to share that we're about to launch Meta Quest for Business, a software subscription. It allows your IT admins to be able to have full controls that they need to be able to deploy mixed reality within the organization. It includes, solutions like identity and access management, first and third party device management with trusted partners like Microsoft Intune, VMware Workspace ONE, app management controls, as well as dedicated support. We're also releasing a new paid add-on, Shared Mode, which allows you to be able to use one device for multiple employees within your organization. So when you think about use cases like training, this would be a great subscription to have. We've also been hard at work, working with our ecosystem of more than 900 partners, building amazing integrations into Meta Quest 2 over the last 12 months, right? Including partners like Adobe Substance 3D Modeler, Zoom meetings in workrooms, and SketchUp. And coming soon, you can expect to see the likes of Microsoft Mesh, Adobe High5, Microsoft 365, Windows 365 in workrooms, as well as Mural. That's an amazing lineup of software, right? This actually makes it an incredibly exciting time for mixed reality. We are in the middle, not on the brink. I mean, literally in the middle of what may be the biggest transformation for work. But I want to leave you with a taste of even cooler things to come. So let's talk about that. The first is mixed reality. I just spent the last few minutes talking about that. The second is AR glasses. And the third is artificial intelligence. Each of these technologies in its own will deliver enormous impact. You take them in silos, they deliver impact, right? But it's when you put them together that you actually experience the possibilities of what these technologies can do together for you in your organization. So imagine for a second, right? Imagine for a second in a world in which all the power and the potential of mixed reality that we have discussed today, everything put together in a simple pair of glasses. Like this Ray-Ban that you can see on the screen. We just launched the Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses. All right? The kind of device that you can reach for anytime, you can take on and off, and it's easy for you to be able to wear. All of the use cases I just talked about, and thousands of others, it become simpler, more accessible as the technology gets smaller, lighter, and faster. It's not just the outdoor frontline work, right? You could slip on a pair of glasses if you're in the office and you want to have an immersive and natural conversation with a hologram of your remote employee, or work with multiple virtual screens instead of the tiny desktop or laptop that you have. But it's when you add artificial intelligence to all of this that it really gets crazy, right? I've heard some of the speakers talked about the importance of AI, right? We believe that there will be lots of different types of AIs, right? Different AIs to help you with different things. And this would include fully fleshed avatars that you can interact with in mixed reality. We're already creating some of these AIs. I don't know if you saw in our last Connect, where we showcased some of these AIs that could support you on a day-to-day. One of them, Lily, is actually an expert writer who can offer tips and advice on things like grammar, structure, your word choice. It's like a hyper smart version of the AI prompts you currently get when using cloud collaboration software today. But instead of seeing prompts on a screen, we're already used to that. Like we understand what that experience feels like. Imagine sitting next to an AI in a virtual space, in a virtual office, while you're working on a new presentation. Maybe you turn to her or him, and you can ask, how can I make this presentation clearer? Or maybe she turns to you and say, have you considered, tweaking your presentation to make it sound a bit better, right? Now imagine that, but for any skill you can think of, right? Because Meta is building an AI studio so that developers can use our technology to create their own assistant. So it's not limited to what just Meta can do. We're making this available so that any of our developers and partners can use our AI studio to create their own AI assistants, right? So you could be sitting, in that virtual office next to a strategy expert or a scientist or a lawyer, right? You could be in a manufacturing plant, working on a machine alongside an AI or with an engineer who has joined you remotely, who designed and built it, giving you tips on how to use that machine, right? Do you think that sounds unlikely? Let's just think about it, right? Do you think if you were to ask your mom or your dad 40 years ago and say, hey, at some point in the future, you're going to have a device that you can hold and interact with, right? That would give you all of the world's information in one glance. Like, I'm sure they will pretty much say that, what are you drinking or smoking, right? They wouldn't believe you, right? It's the same way to think about it. So if you were to ask your children, they're going to be like, yes, we believe it, because they're already experiencing some of this technology today. Well, that's all the time that I have. So I want to thank you, for listening today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. We're going to be at the Wu Wei foyer in booth 44. Please come by and talk to us. We're going to have the headsets, different Meta headsets for you to be able to experience mixed reality, virtual reality. So please come talk to us. Also on Thursday, we're going to be here having a panel with the likes of Nestle, Gartner, Colgate, Palmolive, and many more. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the sessions.
Thank you so much, Adi. Appreciate that. Okay, it's break time. We made it to the first break. We are coming back at 11:35. We've got a great panel. We're going to learn strategies of how to introduce XR into your organization. See you in 45 minutes.